back, everybody, to another edition of Best Bets here at Pure Picks. We're here to break down our best bets for UFC 304, a very monster pay-per-view card. And I'm here with Top G Gerard. How are you doing, man?
Not too bad, not too bad. I'm ready for this pay-per-view card, so let's go.
So before we get into that, we gotta just recap UFC Vegas 94 real quick. And if you guys are asking yourselves why we're wearing shades indoors, look no further than the results of our Bet MMA tips. Overall, up 9.51 units, got that Giga Green night that, we're always trying to go for. So, we're real happy about that. Draw, why don't you go ahead and break down, some of the picks that you had first?
So one of the only losses that we had on this 9.5 unit green day was the over 2.5 on the Hyder Emil fight on me, which I thought Jung Young Lee was gonna be a little bit more disciplined in the stand-up. I didn't know he's gonna brawl with him, so that was bad on me. We lost that one, but I made that back with the big underdog play on the Doo Ho Choi and Cody Gibson parlay, which was plus 275. We should have put a unit on that, but we went a little bit safer with half a unit on that one. So, yeah, not too bad on this card.
Yeah, definitely. And on my side, I really just wanted to touch on one bet. It was the best bet that I gave out last week. Hyder Emil money line. I mean, hey, if you guys had a ticket on Hyder Emil and you were watching that fight live, I mean, you might as well have won twice. 'Cause that was a very exciting and funny fight. And I know when Hyder Meal got that finish, man, I was straight jumping up and down. That shit was it was like a jolt of dopamine. I don't know. So glad that hit at plus 160. Interestingly enough, I mean, like you saw that fight, it was just a brawl. So also again, surprised to see the line float around 160. I think I even saw it at 175. So it's actually weird, man. Usually I'm pretty good with the line movement stuff, but the last three best bets, line has worked against me. So let's see if we can get that back this week. But
I should have pushed for another unit on Hyder. He's Filipino and you should have just went for it.
yeah, Gerard's Filipino, Hyder Meals from the Bay. I'm from the Bay. Yeah, that's an easy like 3 unit right there. But yeah, we didn't we didn't think of that, so that's on us, man. But yep, overall up 9.51 units. Again, got that Giga Green. Real happy about that. But hey, we got something big cooked up for UFC 304. We got a lot of juicy bets that we're going to lock in, and I think it's going to be another big card for us. So without further ado, let's get right into it. UFC 304. All right, so for UFC 304, Gerard, let's start with you, man. What is your best bet for this monster card?
So my best bet on this one, I'm gonna take another stab on the overs in a parlay. So I got a two-leg parlay on Preston Parsons, the over 2.5, and Mick Parkin, the over 2.5.
So the over 2.5 on Mick Parkin is at currently a minus 180. And then the over 2.5 on said Preston Parsons,
Yeah,
minus 130. So two leg parlay plus 175. Assume you're going to go a unit on this.
yeah, I would go a unit.
Okay. So why don't we start with the Lucas Brzeski and the Mick Parkin fight? Why do you have that going over 2.5?
So this fight, I look at both of these guys, they both don't look too dangerous, whether it's the stand-up or grappling, and I think they're both solid enough on the defensive end, whether the striking or the grappling. Both guys don't really have that knockout power from what I see. They kind of like usually go to decisions in the UFC. And as for McParkin, he's well rounded. He doesn't have any clear disadvantages on the feet or in the grappling. And he can counter strike and grapple, but he's not overly dangerous for a finish. I like that he's patient and he usually tends to go for decision fights, so he point fights usually. And he's a smart fighter and he can bounce back from losing a round or getting hurt for a little bit early. So as for Brzeski, this guy has decent enough stand up against lower level fighters. Um, but he can get taken down easily in this one. As we've seen in his last previous fight, he kept getting tackled down against a guy who couldn't handle the stand up with Walter Walker. And yeah, I just think Breski's a lower tiered heavyweight who I don't think he'll get finished by Parkin in this one, but I think Parkin can handle this fight and not get finished himself here. So I think this is a basically a point fight to a decision, and I it's hard for me to see a finish in this one. That's why I have the over.
Got it. In your opinion, who is more likely to get finished?
I would say Brzeski. We've seen him get knocked out bad by Waldo Cortez and against big powered guys. So I would say Brzeski. Mick Parkin, he's undefeated right now. We haven't seen him finish. So yeah, I would say if I had to choose, it would be Brzeski.
Are you worried at all about Brzeski's gas tank? Um, with that?
I'm not I'm not too worried on his gas tank. Um, I don't know if that will play too much of a factor. I don't think he'll get unless he gets grappled by Parkin, but Parkin usually likes to stand up for most of the fight and strike. And if there's any grappling, usually it's around the cage in clinch work.
Yep.
So yeah.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, I think I like this pick, just two fighters that don't really have knockout power, like you said. So it's a nice pick. So let's move on to the second one, the over 2.5 on Preston Parsons and Oban Elliott. Why do you have that?
This one, these guys are both lean on the grappling. So there's a pretty good possibility that some clock can be burned from just the grappling itself. And as for Oban Elliott, he has decent kicks, but his grappling is where he wants to be. He likes to switch stances a few times to have different looks, and I think that may be able to slow down Parsons' striking pressure from the time to time as Oban Elliott experiments with different looks. Um, Oban doesn't have great head movement, but for most of the fight, he tries to keep his distance and finds opportunities to throw strikes, his kicks, and set up for takedowns. Um, Oban Elliott does get hit, but I feel like when I watch this guy fight, he really goes after it. He knows how to survive and compete even when he gets hurt. And in that aspect, there's like some survivability and durability to him to that, even though he has been knocked out in the past, but that was years ago.
Mhm.
And as for Preston Parsons, this guy, he just pressures opponents back with his strikes and into takedowns. And between the two, I think Preston Parsons hits harder, but he's not the cleanest striker around, so he may not have all the precision there. And Preston Parsons is going to be the more threatening in terms of the submission aspect in the grappling. And in this fight, I'm not sure if Parsons will get it because Oban Elliott, he does lean on the grappling. I think he'll know how to maneuver in this fight. And this is going to be in Europe. And I think Oban Elliott's going to come out with maybe the best version of himself in this one. Um, I think Oban Elliott will be harder to finish, and both these guys can slow things down with the grappling if they get hurt striking. And overall, I think Parsons is the better overall fighter, but I can see this being like a close fight to a decision.
Now, Preston Parsons does have two first round KO losses. Does that worry you at all?
Not too much because Oban Elliott doesn't strike me as a guy who's has that striking ability to finish a guy that clean on Parsons. And Parsons himself, I think he's pretty durable himself. He's just faced some guys who are really in the topper tier of like striking and power, so to speak. And I don't think Oban Elliott, I don't think he's that.
Now, I wanted to also ask you the same question that I did with the Mick Parkin fight. Who do you think is more likely to get finished?
Maybe Oban Elliott, but I don't think we've seen him get finished or I mean, I don't think we've seen him get subbed. Here,
Hmm.
let me see here. Yeah, it's been through punches. So maybe through punches, but that his last one was back in 2021 and against Madars Fleminas. I don't know if that'll happen in this fight. He's up
Yeah.
he's he's going up against mostly a grappler guy too, but Parsons does have some power, but he's not really a clean striker.
Yeah, yeah. No, I'm with you there. So there you guys have it. That's Gerard's best bet for UFC 304, two-leg parlay over on the Mick Parkin fight and over on the Oban Elliott Preston Parsons fight for plus 175. Um, so let's move on to my best bet. I'm curious to hear what you have to say about it. But so it's going to be believe it or not, man, I'm going to put my nuts on the table here. It's going to be a dummy fight. It's going to be the Alice Ardelean and Shauna Bannon fight. And believe it or not, guys, I'm going with the under 2.5 at plus 200. Uh, that
Uh,
is going to be the under at plus 200. That's going to be my best bet. Reasoning here. So I actually wanted to play Alice Ardelean by submission, but the lines aren't out yet on Bet Online. For some reason, they say Oliveira. No, the what's it
Ravi.
called? Bannon's. Yeah, Ravina Oliveira. So the lines are kind of messed up there. So instead of that, I'm just gonna go with the under at plus 200. And the reason I'm taking this bet is because I see majority of the finishing equity on the Alice side, hence why I wanted to take the submission prop, but going with the under instead. Now, I think both of these guys, if you look at their past opponents, just absolute cans, right? Like, Alice actually fought uh, Zhang Wei Li, which I thought was pretty interesting. This is way back in like 2017 or something.
Oh, 2017.
But yeah, if you look at their most recent opponents, just all cans, just very low level. I think both of these guys are pretty low level. I don't think they'll make it too far in the UFC. I mean, unfortunate to say, but that's just my opinion. But Alice, she's aggressive, man. She's uh, when the bell rings, she's looking to throw with force. That's what I see. And one thing that I noticed was Shauna Bannon. She got taken down twice uh, against Bruna Brazil, and that's just a bad look because Bruna Brazil is not some takedown artist. She's just there to uh, poke from distance. So the fact that she got taken down twice, I think that was enough for me to go with the under here for Alice, with how aggressive and it's not just punches with her. She can also, uh, if she gets close enough as she's entering the pocket and she gets a hold of you, I can easily see her getting the takedown on Shauna Bannon and start ground and pound into submission, something like that. Uh, But by taking the under, we also uh, we also have the possibility of us getting the knockout finish. Um, Now I know Shauna Bannon has never been finished in her career, uh, but again, she's been fighting cans, in my opinion. By taking the under 2.5, we also open the possibility of Shauna Bannon getting a finish. I mean, this fight's in Manchester, even though she's Irish, but it's Europe power. So yeah, that's gonna be my best bet, plus 200. Again, putting my nuts on the table here with this pick. Draw. What do you think, man?
So you wouldn't do a Alice money line, or you think
No.
Shauna can also finish?
So I think Shauna, again, I think majority of the finishing equity is on Alice's side. I think if Shauna wins, it'll be by decision. So I'm just gonna say that. But by taking the under,
Mhm.
still have that possibility. Maybe I'm reading the fight incorrectly, and Shauna has worked on her game incredibly in the last, year, whatever. Uh, but I think if it goes to decision, I think we're gonna see Shauna win. That's just my opinion.
Okay. It is better odds too. The under 2.5.
Yeah, yeah. So that's what I'm saying. Like if I'd rather go under 2.5 than bet Alice money line because I'm saying if I think it goes decision, I think Shauna wins. That's not to say Alice can't win a decision. Clearly, the odds are saying this fight is gonna go over 2.5, so most likely gonna go to decision. So, in that sense, Alice does have a chance, right? With the odds being that close. But yeah, I mean, I'm just gonna go with the under here because I think it's pretty good value at plus 200. Just like how I said last week, the Hyder Emil was a coin flip. I mean, that Hyder Emil fight, definition of a coin flip, man, just a brawl. And so I think, this fight, we're gonna see Alice, especially in the first round, look to be aggressive. So yeah, gonna go with her here.
All right, I'm ready for it.
Yeah, man. So that about wraps up the best bets for us. Again, super pumped for this pay-per-view card. Uh, Gerard, what do you have any other additional thoughts, last thoughts for this card?
I did have like some props in mind, but I think I'll save that for the Pure Picks members. I think there's a lot more spots that we can take here in this card.
Definitely, man. Before we go, did you want to tell the pure pickers about the 304, the
Oh,
ER sheet?
oh yeah. I'm going to the Cosm in LA, which is basically like it's kind of like the Sphere, but it's way smaller and it's half the size of the Sphere. Like it's a 180-degree VR screen, like you're there in at a UFC 304. So I'm gonna be there with James, and we're gonna have some fun.
Yeah, for sure. It's gonna be lit, man. Definitely wish that I could have gone too. But yeah, just the way you explained it, looked super sick.
Let me
But
put it on the screen
yep,
real quick where it's at. The Cosm. It's an immersive experience for when we watch UFC 304. It's gonna be my first time there, so this should be quite the experience. So it should be fun.
yep. So UFC 304, man, we're all super pumped. Best believe we're gonna have our picks uh, loaded in, hoping for that Giga Green again, and just looking to carry that momentum forward. So if you guys aren't a member, sign up at purepicks.gg. Get in now. Uh, and lastly, like, comment, subscribe. Tell us what your best bet is. Shit on our best bets. Love to hear what you guys have to say. So See you guys next week, and good luck at UFC 304.